So with that said, let's try to do some 3D modeling. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
We can.
Okay. So first of all, actually, yeah, sorry. Let me restart my Autodesk Inventor. I want to show you guys like from step 0 to step 1. It'll be a little bit more easier that way. So if you guys are wondering why I haven't assigned you guys your parts yet, it's because I'm trying to look at how well you're handling Autodesk, because there's definitely parts that are a little bit harder than others. So I kind of want to gauge your skill level before I actually assign you the parts themselves, especially with the whole specificity of the fingers part. I really don't want, to burden you guys. I want to make sure the group leaders can help you as much as they can. So don't worry, guys. Everything's going as planned. I just want to take things a little bit more slowly since this is, a bulk of our club's progress. So I just want to make everything sure. Okay. So now that Autodesk Inventor is here. Okay. I'm going to have to put you guys on the left. Okay. You guys see my screen well?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what you're going to face when you first open up Autodesk. This is the very first page you see. Now, the section I'm assigning you to do is called a 3D modeling apart. So you click on this blue button over here. And it'll take some time to load. And I'll put you guys to the left. Oh, and guys, errors will show up all the time with Autodesk. It's a very buggy program. So just click OK and just ignore it, because most of the time it works. Okay. Let me actually put you guys over here. It's a little bit hard for me to see. Okay. So you're first brought up to this screen and you're wondering, what's the first thing to 3D modeling? Well, the very premise of 3D modeling is actually having a 2D model, just like a regular picture, but either extruding it or revolving it. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So first of all, to start your 3D sketch or 3D modeling, you need to click on this button where it says Start 2D Sketch. You click on the top button where it has the pencil icon and the square icon. Oh, and by the way, guys, while I'm explaining this, if you need like a time for me to like pause a little bit or re-clarify something as you're doing this, please let me know. And I always encourage you guys, for those who do have Autodesk Inventor installed, to kind of copy what I'm doing. So that's what you first need to click. Now, you're going to be brought up to this screen. And I know this might look a little bit weird at first, but this is what it's basically saying. If you click on the XZ plane, that's saying you want to create a model as if you're drawing it on the floor. And then you're going to extrude it as in you're going to like copy that each section. So it's the premise of, do you want to draw a shape onto the wall, which is this XY plane? Or do you want to draw a picture on the floor? Now, this depends. If what you're modeling is looking at from the side, so for example, let me take my phone. Let's say you're going to draw this section, this floor section. Then since you're modeling up from the floor, you would choose the XZ plane. Now, if I was modeling the side of my phone, I would choose the XY plane because I'm looking at the side. So it's a little bit, it's just little things like that. You don't have to always pick the right plane. Just just choose what you feel like. So I'm going to choose the XZ plane. What we're going to try to make is kind of like a weird looking mug or a weird looking cup that has a hole in it. So I'm going to choose the XZ plane. So once you do choose the XZ plane, you're given a lot of options and this giant, blank sheet of paper. Now, since we're making a square or like a cup that has a hole in it, what we're going to do is use a rectangle. Now, every shape in Autodesk has its option. You can create a line, a circle, an arc, or a rectangle. Now, all of them has options. So line, you could draw a regular line, a controlled vertex, spline, or math heavy lines. You can also draw a circle, but there's multiple options. You can have a circle with a center, a circle that's tangent to certain parts you're looking at, or an ellipse. For an arc, there's a 3-point arc, and there's a tangent arc, but then the most used one is arc with a center point. And of course, there's a rectangle. There's a bunch of these. Now, you don't really have to worry a lot about the rectangles. All you really have to pay attention is 2 points, 3 points, and 2-point center, and occasionally 3-point center. What we're going to use is rectangle with a 2-point center. So I click on this option, I get this weird looking cursor. If you get this weird looking cursor, that means you did it right. So since I chose the option where it says 2-point center, I'm going to first choose a rectangle center. My rectangle center is going to be this pages center. Now, as you guys 3D model this, your browser or your, what is this thing called? Cursor, yeah. Your cursor is kind of like gonna snap into place. If I get close enough to the middle, it kind of like snaps onto place. That actually means that the point you're looking at is directly on that point. Since Autodesk is such a minute detail software, it'll automatically snap into place, so you don't have to worry about that later. So let's say I want the rectangle center to be this canvas's center. I click on it, and I can stretch it however I want. I could create it this way, I could create it that way. Let's just create it like this. And you click on it to confirm. Now, that's the very basic of sketching in Autodesk. You can do this with many other things, like, for example, an arc. You choose a center, you choose 1 point, and you choose another point, you have a line. For a line, you choose a point, you choose another point, and you have this. Now, did you guys see what I just did? It's called canceling. When you click a point and you get a line, and you say, oh, I'm fine with this line, but yet you're still in that cursor line mode. What you have to do is press right-click and cancel. If you press right-click, usually, it'll give you some options like this. If I want to undo, I just hit Control-Z and undo those. So everyone kind of got up to that point, understand it well? Oh, looks like we have a question in the chat. All right. So now that's one section to Autodesk modeling, is creating a picture, creating like a 2D dimensional picture. Now, here's another part of modeling, and that's called dimensioning. You know how beforehand I told you guys, oh, this is a dimension sheet, you'll need it later, but it is important. This is, this is why it's important. Whenever you create an object, you need a constraint. Now, I know constraint is like used heavily around, but in this case, constraint means assigning what each line should be, as in how long does this line have to be, or how thick does something has to be, or what angle should this object be in. Now, do you see this button over here, dimension? That's what you click. And now, let's say I want this white line over here, the highlighted white line, to be, let's go with 3 inches. Then all I have to do is click dimension and click on this white line, and it'll kind of give you like a weird dragging. Just place it anywhere you want, and it'll give you this pop-up. Now, you don't really have to understand D0, A0. That's a little bit more complex variable stuff. We don't really have to worry about that. But what you do need to worry about is giving it a proper measurement. Now, let's say I tell you, for example, Junso, hey, Junso, I want you to make a 4x4 square. Then Junso would type in 4. Remember that in Autodesk, everything is in inches. You can do centimeters, but you have to type it like this. But most of the times, the default setting is inches. Everyone got that? Okay. So let's say this part is inches, and you'll see a difference. Hey, wait a second. This line is blue, and this line is green. What's the difference? Well, when a line is in blue, it means that it's proper, as in it knows, the computer knows how long this line needs to be. Because we set that this blue lines have to be 4 inches apart, the computer will always know, hey, this blue line is 4 inches apart. Now, for these green lines, let's give them a setting to 4 inches. Now, I'll show you what I just did. I clicked on the dimension tool. I clicked on this top, and you see how it's still dragging me? But I also click on this line as well. If I click on that, it'll give me like a slide. So I put that slide anywhere else, and then I put into 4. That's how you create a square. Now, you see how every single line is a square now? That means I'm good. Or I mean, every line is blue. That means I'm good. Now, let's just say I told June, hey, June, I want you to create a hole in the bottom. But then June is unsure how the circle needs to be. Then what you need is called a construction line. What a construction line is it's just dotted line. You know how when you make a blueprint, there's solid lines and dotted lines, where dotted lines are just like reference points, where it's not actually, you're not actually building on that dotted line, but it's just there so you can see it better. That's exactly what it is. Constructions line don't actually put lines into the object, but put dotted lines so that you know where things are. So let's just say I told June, hey, June, I want this circle to be, and let's go with 2 inches. You click 2, and it automatically sets it so that the radius is 2, or the diameter is 2. Let's check. Yeah. So we know that this is 2 inches. Now I tell June, hey, June, I want the circle to be exactly 1 inches apart. Now you might be wondering, hey, wait a minute. I can't actually grab a point over here. There's no point. Well, first of all, you could easily just do this and you'll get 2 inches. And since you know that the diameter is 2 inches, that means the radius is 1 inch, you automatically get 1 inch. But let's not assume that, and let's just say June doesn't know. Then what you can do is use a construction line. Think of construction line as rulers. Rulers you can permanently place and see. So let's just say I wanted a point from here to here. Let's use a line, because if you guys see, there's no actual point there. So if I use a line and with a construction point, I can set one over here and set one over there. Now, I know it might be a little bit hard to see, but it is there. You guys kind of see like that whole dotted line? That kind of shows that the line is there. Now, since June has this construction ruler, he can click on the dimensions and see that it is indeed 1 inches. Do you guys kind of understand how to use construction lines? Is there any questions? Okay. So that's the general gist of how to use construction lines. And I'll of course, as we go, I'll show you what exactly those mean. But since we know exactly where a circle is going to be, let's turn off construction by clicking it one more time, getting a circle over here and getting a circle to that line. Boom. Now, I want you guys to see this properly. This is the end of our 2D sketch. You see how these lines, all of these lines, are dotted while these lines are thick? I'll show you why that makes a difference. So after you're done with this sketch, which is what we're at, I told June to create a box with a hole in it. Now, let's just say this is the bottom of our box. I click Finish Sketch. This is very important. A lot of people will go automatically 3D model. You cannot do that. You always need to finish your sketch. Once you finish it, I'll give it to you in 3D form now. Now, I know what you guys are wondering. How am I actually gonna look through my model? These are very important. You press your middle mouse button, as in this one over here. You can actually move it around, the middle mouse button. If you press Shift and middle mouse button, you can kind of rotate your object. If you want to move it around, you press middle mouse. If you want to rotate it while you're locking it on, you press shift and middle mouse. And I don't mean your scroll wheel. I mean like actually pressing on the middle mouse button. Okay, so now that we have set, we'll do what's called extruding. Extruding is how we make 2D objects into 3D. So I click on extrude. You see that button over here? We click on it, and we click on this surface. Boom. You see how our 2D shape suddenly became a 3D object? That's how we do it. Now, you see how it grabbed the circle and the squares, but it didn't grab those dotted construction lines? That's exactly the point of construction lines. They don't actually appear in the extrude section. So let me just go back to show you what I mean. You see how there's lines over here? They don't actually make a difference. You see how it like kind of lights up when I go over it? I can either choose a circle or this part. That's what I mean. Construction lines don't make a difference on switching from 2D to 3D. It stays on 2D and it does not translate to 3D. So with that said, let's say, June, I want the thickness of my box to be 0.25. Now, remember this number because it's important to create it in our box. So you press OK and you have this shape. Does everyone understand how to use extrude? Any questions so far? Any comments, concerns? Okay. Now, at the beginning, I said, June, I want you to create a box with a hole in it, right? Now, here's how you make a box. All we have is the bottom of the box. Now let's create the other half. You press on Start through 2D Sketch again. And now you're going to have to choose on which surface you want to create a 2D sketch on. Since I want to create a box that goes up, let's choose this face. And I'm going to be redirected to yet another 2D sketch. Now from here, it's a little bit more smooth sailing because you could just grab points that are over here. Now, let's say I want to create borders, like edges onto it. Then all I have to do is create this box over here and create that box, create a box from this point to here, and create one here to here. And now you see how it's showing all those green lines? That's because we didn't set how thick each needs to be. So let's actually set that. Let's make it so that each thickness is 0.25. So it's a little bit more universal. Now, remember how I said in the dimensional tool, if I just click on one line, it will give me how long this is. But if I click one line and another line, it gives me the distance between those two lines. When it says 0.315, it means the distance between the top line and the bottom line. That's very important. And since I wanted the thickness to be 0.25, let's set it like that. The same with this one. I want to get the distance between this line and this line. So I click it 2 times and I get 0.25. And again, I want the distance from this line to this line to be 0.25. Now, you can click this one, but remember, you can't click on, this one specific. Well, yeah, if you can click on this one to get 0.25, but that doesn't work always. Sometimes you see how this line, when I go over it, the whole thing glows. That kind of shows that you can't do that all the time. Now, to make sure that it works 100% of the times, all you have to do is click this line once, click that line again, and then click outside and 0.25. And of course, same with here, you just do 0.25. Now we're done. You click finish sketch again, and let's extrude it like always. So you click on this line, you click on this again, you click on that, and you click on this. Now, remember when I said 3D modeling is all about math? Well, here's where it comes in. Since I wanted an open box, with a hole inside, you kind of have to think for yourself, does this need to be 4 inches or does it need to be 4 minus 0.25? In this case, it's 4 minus 0.25. You can't just plug in 4 because remember, now you have to take into 3D modeling, into account. Remember that this thing is not just a flat surface, but actually thick, as in 0.25 inches thick. So you have to take into account for that. Now, when you guys 3D model, this is something you don't have to worry about at all. The whole purpose of the dimension sheet is so that you do not have to do any sort of math whatsoever. But I'm just trying to let you guys know that this is an aspect of 3D modeling, and I do want you to keep that in mind, as you, maybe take a future course in like design or something like that. Just do keep that in mind. It's a critical part of 3D modeling where you have to account for 3D shapes and 3D thickness. Now, you might be asking, well, I just use the default options. What does the other options do? Well, first of all, don't click on any of these buttons. I don't even know what they do. That's way complex. This is just restrictions. You don't have to worry about that either. What you do have to worry about is this number, or what you put in. Oh, and by the way, in Autodesk, you don't have to always put 3.75. 3.75 is 4 minus 0.25, but you can always put 4 minus 0.25. Now, what do these options mean? Well, this is direction 1, which is outwards, direction 2, which is inwards. If we go inwards, it'll go backwards inside. But if we choose direction 1, it goes outwards. These ones you don't have to worry about. We press OK, and boom, we have it. Again, as I told you guys, press on mouse 3. If you press on mouse 3, you can move the object. If you press Shift and mouse 3, you can rotate the object. Now, if you want to just, what's the word for it? If you want to zoom in or zoom out, you just use your scroll wheel. Now, we have our box that I wanted June to model. Now, this is specifically for the specificity of fingers compartment, fingers 3, or fingers 3. But let's go over it a little bit. Let's say I kind of wanted to make a cup. Let's say I wanted this to be a really weird looking cup. Well, we can do that. Let's start a 3D sketch, but this is very important. I know I don't really have a cup. Actually, I do have a cup. When you think about a cup and its handle, here. Let me temporarily choose my video setting as nothing. Let's see, video. Choose virtual background, none, okay. So if you guys see a cup, you guys kind of have to wonder how we need to actually model this. So we know that we started designing our cup from the bottom. That's why we use the bottom plane. And that makes sense because you can just draw a circle and just extrude upwards. However, you can't really do that with this complex shape, right? Because you can't just draw the bottom of this and go straight up. That's not possible. What you have to do is draw from the sides, because when you draw from the sides, you can extrude this way up and this way up. Think of extruding as having a bottom, but just like going upwards, and you're filling that space in. If we think of a cup, we start from the bottom, as in we start from the bottom, and it goes upwards. We fill it upwards. But for this, there's a hole between, so we can't fill it upwards. That's the difference. Now, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let me put on my background. All right. Okay, so with that said, let's resume our 3D modeling. What I'm going to do is put on a little handle. Now, this can be done in many ways, but this is just one of them. So let's start a 3D sketch on the side. Now, I'm going to choose a circle, and I'll show you why. If you guys think about a circle, it could technically function as, a base shape for cup handle. Now, what I'm going to show you is another type of way to convert 2D pictures into 3D models, which is not extrude, but instead revolve. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say I just draw a circle over here, and I'm not really going to pay attention to it. Let's just do 0.25 for the sake of, well, actually, that's a little bit thicker than that since I kind of expect them a little bit thicker. 0.5, and then let's say that the dimension of the circle from the center to the top is going to be 1.5. Actually, let's set it as 1 inches. This is just hasty modeling, so don't pay attention to specific numbers now. What I want you to show you is this. You click on Finish Sketch. You're done with everything. You see how I said extrude was one option to convert 2D pictures into 3D? Well, revolve is also an option too. Let me click on this, and then it's going to give you a lot of options with revolve. It's going to say extend full, between, angle. Let's choose between. Oops. Let's see what's wrong with this one. There we go. Revolve. Oh, that's interesting. Or maybe there's a constraint error. And this is just a part of using Autodesk. You're going to get errors one way or the other. It's just something you got to deal with. So let's just edit our sketch 3 and see what we did wrong. Oh, it probably needs a distance from our center to this point. Yep, 2 inches. So we have everything set up for this circle. We finish our sketch and we need to revolve this. Extent, let's actually do angle. This is a little bit more, should give us a little bit more easier way. Ah, that's interesting. It doesn't let us do that. Maybe there's a constraint error. Let's see. Okay, well, I'll try to just deal with this later. Let me just show you guys in a new model then. Oh, that's really interesting. That should be working. Okay, never mind. Let's just start a new sketch, file, new, part, and I'll show you guys what I mean. Let's create a little bit more simpler shape. Let's create a donut. So let's think about creating a donut not from the top up, but from taking it like a cross section. You know what a cross section is? It's like when you bite into it, you see like the circle. Let's think about that. Since the cross section is the wall, let's think about creating our donut. So since I'd assume that donut is like a circle, let's just put a random circle over here. Now all we have to do is set a distance. This doesn't really matter, but let's just set it as 3 inches. And let's say our donut is 2 inches thick. So it's a pretty thick donut. We finish our sketch and we need to revolve this. And let's just set it as 180. Okay, what is wrong with this today? It should be working. Okay, well, looks like this tool doesn't really want to work with me today. No, that's fine. I'll show you another way to do it. So another way to do or create an arc is actually through drawing arcs or circles. Now, when you draw an arc, always choose a center point and the 2 other points. So what you need to do is create this point, create the center, choose a center, choose one end, and choose another end. And all you have to do is click yes. And now let's say I kind of want to make 1/4 of a pie or like a pizza part, like a slice of pizza, that's 1/4. I just need to create a line over here, another line, from here to here. And let's just say that this arc over here to over here needs to be 5.5 inches. So we're going to be a little bit big, and that's it. We finish our sketch, and we have this. What we need to do is extrude it. And you see how there's like a curve? That's how you create curves or circles. If you wanted to make a sphere, I guess you could also do that. Now let's try to use Revolve. I think it doesn't really want to work with me today. Yeah, that's fine. You're probably not going to use Revolve anyways. But one thing I do also want to cover, let's just say it's 1 inches. Now, this is a little bit more complex detailing, like getting the little details. Let's click on fillet. What filleting is kind of like smoothing it out. So you know how when we're making medical devices for our patients, we probably don't want to put like sharp edges? This is what this is for. If you click on any line, boom, it automatically does it for you. Now, this is kind of a small fillet, but let's make it so that it's 0.5 inches. And boom, you get a way bigger one. This is how you control it. And now, let's just say I want this to be like a smooth piece. I can also click on this. And I could press apply. And we sort of have like a wheel that's been cut into 1/4. And that's one way to 3D model too. I'll try to see what's wrong with my Revolve, but what it's basically meant to do is, you see how like you create a cross section of this and you can revolve it into that? That's kind of like this. Let me just try it one more time so I can show you guys. File, new, part. Oh, and by the way, is there any questions or comments? Have you, any of the kids who's like following through, do you guys have like run into any difficulty? All right, so it looks like we're good. Let's try to do Revolve just one more time because it shouldn't be giving you that much of a trouble. Let's actually create that exact shape that I was talking about. Let's create this exact weird looking mushroom shape. Let's just give it random dimensions, just 3 inches. This should be 2 inches. That should be 4. And this should be, let's go with 2. And that, let's go with, well, we already have that automatically. Okay, so we have this weird looking shape. Now let's try to revolve this. Okay, well, sorry guys, but it just wouldn't work. I don't know what's wrong with this, but to show you what I mean, you guys can kind of see like this picture. Well, no, that's a bad example. All right. So what Revolve would essentially do is get this one side and it'll actually rotate it 360 degrees. So here, let me actually try this 0.1 inches. It could be just error with this. So let me try that. Dimension this and that should be 0.3. Oh, let's make it 1 inches. And let's make this thing 0.5 inches thick. Okay, looks like if this looks like, okay, well, I don't know. It's probably just some error with my Autodesk, but if we did revolve this, it would kind of create like a ring that goes around. You guys kind of get what I mean? Essentially, it'll do that. But you guys shouldn't really worry about this part. Here, let me actually show you guys an example of what it would do, because I don't know why it's not working. Maybe it's just a bug. But here's fingers one. This is one of the models you're going to have to tackle. You see how over here I did revolution 1? That's what it means. Let me show you guys my sketch real quick. So this was my sketch. That was all I did. but I created like a cross section. And then I chose finish sketch. And what I did was do a revolution over here. Yeah, looks like it's working in this pre-existing file. So let me show you guys what I mean. If I do 0 degrees, or let's just do 1 degrees. If I do 1 degree, it's just gonna show me what I already did over here. But if I do 40 degrees, it's gonna create like a shape that's only 40 degrees. If I do, let's do 90 degrees, it's gonna give me a half a pillar, 1/4 of a pillar. But if I do 180, which is a shape I want, I get this half of a grip shape. So everyone kind of understand what the Revolve tool does. All it does is just kind of scans your 2D plate and just kind of goes around like that. Of course, you can change it to make it stop over here, or make it go all the way around. That's your option. So with that, that's basically it to 3D modeling. Before I let you guys go and assign our new meeting date, is there any questions, concerns, comments? Okay. You learn most with Autodesk Inventor when you actually get your hands dirty and model something. So if you do have the time, please spend like 5 to 15 minutes looking up Intro to Autodesk and then creating an object they created. Because you really can't get much experience with just watching. You really have to get your hands dirty with it. I'm not going to post you like an assignment and make you guys model something. Well, at least not just yet. Because soon I will have to assign you guys specific parts to model. But for now, please try to get used to Autodesk Inventor. I'm going to assign you guys to specific models and the dimension sheets on Saturday this week, 13th. I'm going to assign you guys what your part is, and I'm going to assign you guys the dimension sheet. Within those 3 days, you don't have to master Autodesk. This is going to be like a learning step where as you model your assigned compartment module, we're going to help you with Autodesk and how to use it. But if you do have the time between Saturday, please try to get some practice with Autodesk. But with that said, that's pretty much it. Before you guys let you go, what time Saturday are you guys available? Like
for Saturday?
Like, yeah, Saturday.
Anytime after 3.
Okay. So mostly the afternoon. That's what I'm kind of getting.
This Saturday I'm out of town all weekend, so I won't be able to join the meeting. Like,
what was that?
I'm not gonna be in town this weekend, so I probably won't be able to join the meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to attend. I don't know if I'm going to my grandparents or not this weekend. So it's like 50-50 odds.
Okay. Yeah, see, so the answer I wanted to hear was, are you guys more available in the weekends or the weekdays? And it looks like the weekdays you guys are more free. So that's good to know. I'll try to make things do in weekdays. Saturday, I probably won't have a meeting, but if I do, it's probably going to be with the group leaders only. So you guys don't have to worry about that. Our next meeting will, of course, be next Thursday. Are you guys fine with 7 p.m. or do you guys need it to be 6 p.m.? Are you guys kind of fine with 7 p.m. too?
7 p.m. rock, 6 p.m. same.
Oh, okay, 7 is better. Okay, 7 is better than 6. Okay, that's good. Okay, so for everyone here, I'll post a Discord and email announcement later, but our meeting time is changed to Thursday, 7 p.m. So everyone got that? 7 p.m. Good. Okay. So with that said, you guys are all free to go. I'm going to assign you guys each models and data sheets on the 13th Saturday. So until then, try to look up a video or two about Autodesk. For people who are having trouble installing it, please let me know. With that said, you guys are free to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Jacob, are you busy?
No, you can ask me.
I just had a problem with the that 3D modeling that we're doing. Can I share my screen? Is it possible? Oh no.
Yeah. Here, let me try to all participants. Okay.
for the box thingy. You see this? Do you see this line here?
Yeah.
I accidentally made this like, oh my goodness, like dimension from here to here to 4.0001. It automatically did that, but it wouldn't allow me to fix it.
Oh, that's fine. See, that's why like precise planning in the very first stage is important, because when you make mistakes like this, you can't really fix it except going back.
I gotta go back.
Yeah, but don't worry about the box too much. I mean, you did well, so you don't have to worry much about it. But do keep in mind that you want to have precise numbers at first, so accidents like this don't happen.
Yeah. When I was sketching, it happened, but I couldn't fix it when I was sketching also.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty. Take care.
Thank you.